Kimber, thank you so much for joining us. Joining me. There's only one person in this room right now. I'm so thrilled to have you here. It was such a pleasure to have you in our program. And candidly, you are so inspiring, and what you've been able to create in such a short time is so inspiring. So first of all, just thank you very much for agreeing to do this short interview.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your very kind words.
Okay, amazing. So tell us a little bit about why you are a very busy mother of five as of the time of this recording. And you've had a very successful speaking career. And why did you sort of look and want to go into coaching in the first place?
Good question. So for me, I really wanted to do something that I felt passionate about, that I felt like I could make a difference in, and something that would really utilize my strengths. So in my own journey, in my own introspection, I had done a lot of things along this line in my past. So I really thought, like, why don't I just do this, but actually monetize it and make this into my actual career? So I'm probably a very good example of somebody who's really starting from, to an extent, like zero, meaning that I was like coming from being home with like my 5 kids, basically. And my youngest was were almost 2. And I thought it was a really good time to sort of kind of jump back out there. But I didn't have a social media presence. I wasn't working. I didn't have in the sense of like a large network in that sense, but I did have like a lot of friends. I know a lot of people in that sense.
Before we go there, could you just tell me, like, when you're thinking about building, I mean, we're friends in real life. So like, we've seen that, like as your husband says a lot, like, I knew you during your dark stages, and then you sort of see that the coaching life has been something that's been able to afford a fair amount of, thank God, like financial upside for our family. Not all of us are the most successful attorneys in the world, so some of us have to have other avenues. Kimber's husband's a close friend and a wonderful attorney. So the idea was, when you're thinking like, okay, I want to make money and I want to go into coaching, like, what were some of the fears or insecurities that you had around doing that in the first place?
Oh my gosh, I had tons. So one of them is it's my business. I don't have anyone else to rely on, right? So there's a sense of feeling very alone in the process, and it can seem very overwhelming in the process. So for me, I really needed to have a structure. I needed to know I knew how to coach. I didn't know how to structure it. I didn't know how to get clients. I didn't know what the process was, and I didn't know how to, like, as you just said very well, we've really seen how you built your business. And I do know that I recognize coaching is a premium service, and to really be able to maximize your abilities in terms of making money, it comes down to what you're charging each of your clients. And as you mentioned, as friends, we've seen how your business has exploded and how you guys are financially extremely secure right now. So for me, when I was looking in terms of what are the next steps, I wanted a program that would give me the structure, that would teach me, if someone's going to be paying me a lot of money, every single session has to be transformative. Every single session has to be like, wow, this was amazing. And my insecurities were, how on earth do I do that every single time? So that was a big concern. And 2 was, as I mentioned, I didn't want to feel alone in the process. I wanted to feel like I had some type of a network, and I had some sort of a support system. And then the biggest question is, how do you get clients? So those were my biggest fears. And regarding the course itself, I would say that is the definition of what your course offers. It is how to structure coaching, how to feel confident being able to say, this is the amount that I'm charging. And truthfully, when we first, sorry, Jacob, but when we first found out what you were charging your clients, like, my husband and I were like, oh my gosh, like, that is an insane amount of money. And like, thank God we're in a fine place, but like, it's an insane amount of money. But in going through the process and in seeing how incredibly impactful it can be for your clients, and how their lives can change so dramatically in such a short amount of time, not only do I understand how someone could pay it, but I feel really confident in charging that. And I think that's everything, because once you have that confidence and you see, wow, I am genuinely making a difference in this person's life. Wow, this is huge for them. And I was just saying this to, I guess, a now client of mine. I am not a therapist. I don't have a background in that. That is not what I'm doing. Coaching it's the opposite of therapy. Therapy is taking you backwards into your past. Like, I honestly, to an extent, don't really care so much about someone's past. I care about their future. I care about where they're going and getting them there and as quickly as possible. So this isn't, yes, it's a big investment, but it's short term. So I don't know. I feel really confident saying the amount that I do charge, because it is short term, and it's the most incredible thing to see how people change.
Unbelievable. I'm so excited about that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, the things that I personally was so happy and I really wanted you to talk about for people that are looking is thing number one is that, everyone thinks like, oh, I have to be like super public. I have to have a big social network. I'm gonna like have a Netflix show that's going to showcase me. And one of the things we really like talk to our clients about is like, you have all the money you need, more or less, either directly in your network or one or two like movements out of, like connections out of that. So maybe if you could share for us, like, what is it like to really like realize that you kind of already have what you need to make that business?
Right. So I don't have a website. I literally, prior to doing your course, think I had posted on Facebook, Instagram. I don't even have Twitter, or like anything else, Snapchat. I think I had posted like 3 times in my entire life, like zero social media, presence whatsoever. I did have friends on Facebook for sure. I did have Instagram friends, but it wasn't or Instagram followers, but it definitely wasn't a large amount. And the occasional post would be pictures of my kids. Like, we're talking bare minimum here. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I don't use a website. Everybody I get is now through referrals or through people that I know. It's amazing. I mean, I don't know who would be doing your course that's under the age of 20. My guess is very few people, but truthfully, if you're over the age of 16, you have a massive social network, like huge. Just between everyone's lived enriched full lives to an extent. We all interact with so many people on a daily basis. So even for that person that doesn't have, it was never on social media and doesn't even have a network, they go to the gym, right? They go to work, they pick up their kids from school. You have tons of interactions every single day. So, I mean, for me personally, that's the way I'm building my business. It's through no other way. It's literally through my interactions.
Amazing. I wanted to ask also, like, one of the things that a lot of people probably fear is like, oh my God, I have to call like 1 million people. I have to be on the phone all the time. It's going to take me years to build a business. And, again, just candidly, like, you're really good at this. And so, these results are not typical for everybody. That being said, they're fairly par for the course with a lot of people. Your close rate is insane. So like, maybe tell us a little bit about like, I mean, like, you tell us, like, out of the people that you talk to, how many of them usually wind up saying yes and signing up for you as clients? Is it like every 1 out of 10? Is it 1 out of 7, 1 out of 50? What are you looking at?
Okay. So thankfully it is a lot higher than that, but I do have to say something. I'm part of a group of people that were in your program, and we have like some separate chats going on. We all have the same close rate. We all have the same amount of clients right now. And I'm like 2 weeks out of your course. So right now I would say my last calls, I'm averaging 10% or 100% closing. So for every person I talk to,
they say yes.
Yes, but and please God, it continues. I hope it will. But it wasn't originally. It definitely takes time. I would say my first 3 calls, my first 3, I closed 1 out of 3, and then after that,
one out of 3 was your bad rate, right? So that'll speak for itself. If anyone doesn't understand like what that looks like and what that means practically, I don't know how many businesses in the world have that level of close rate. So that's like absolutely phenomenal. Was there certain mindset humps you had to get over to be able to accomplish that? Like, what was,
yes,
again, even in your dark days of, 1 out of 3 people you talk to, what was that thing that you had to get over that enabled you to be so effective?
So one of them was what I mentioned at the beginning, was for me, just to be able to confidently say that this is the amount that I charge was why I had to change it. It's not about me. It's not like, oh, I'm worth this amount of money per month. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the other person. So that was a massive mindset shift I had to do. Was if it's not about me, it's about them. It's about how important this is to them. And the reality is this is like a massive transformation potentially for them. So that shift was huge. And I think was really just seeing myself as the coach that I want to be. And once I saw myself like that, which is the coach that I am, that was a huge shift too, because it made me more confident in it. I think the coaching process itself, it's very natural. If you can just really listen and you can, as you always say, really articulate your client's pain and then articulate how close they are to being able to live the life that they are dreaming of. As soon as you can articulate that, and truthfully, I think anybody who does even like 1 week of your course will be able to articulate that. Once you can articulate that, then the hardest part is just getting them to sign up with you. So why is it hard? Because like, it's hard to say, like, this is what I charge. It's hard to say like, oh, I deserve this, but it's not about me deserving this. It's about, this is worth it for the client. They need this. And I think for me, that shift was huge.
I love that. One kind of like two final questions. If a person is on the fence, think about you before you committed to the course, or someone's coming to you and saying like, I don't know, Kimber, like, it's a lot of money. It's a big investment. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if I'm able to do it. I know I want to help people. I know obviously I'd like to make money doing this. Like, what are the questions or what are the things that you would tell them? What advice could you possibly like give those people that would help them get clarity around if this is the right decision for them?
Right. So that happens often, actually. And I really say exactly, I mean, everything that I'm saying right now is the things that I learned in your course and what you've taught me. I would say, yeah, it is. It's a lot of money. It's absolutely a lot of money. But how much is this worth to you? Right? Like how much? It's only a lot of money if you don't do the work, meaning you're making an investment, but if there's no change, then whoa, massive amount of money. But if there's change, then it's worth everything. And then I also touch on, like, as you say, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because these are your words, basically.
Okay, I didn't hear it also.
But I really do focus on timeline too, because if it's important to somebody, then is it scary to wait? What is that going to cost you? Right? So, I mean, how long do you want to wait until your life starts? And I would also explore it with them a little bit as well, is making a massive investment. It's scary. It should be scary, and that's okay. But I would really question, like, what's holding them back? Do they believe in themselves? Is it scary because this is a huge financial investment? Have they ever made an investment in themselves, either in terms of time, in terms of money? And what's holding them back? What are their fears? What's stopping them from doing something like this? Those would probably be the questions I would ask. And more often than not, this comes usually after a successful coaching session. So the client like is open with you. They'll usually tell you like, nope, don't believe myself. I've never invested in myself either in time or money. Or wow, you know what? Somebody actually said this. The last time, and this is somebody who's actually in her early 40s, she's like, the last time I really invested in myself was in grad school. And I asked her, I was like, well, how was it? She's like, it was the best time of my life. And that was the last time she invested in herself. Like, that's crazy. Like, you should be having the best time of your life all the time. Yeah, so right. I would just explore it. And I would also realize, like, they should be on the fence to an extent, not necessarily on the fence, but they should realize this is a big investment. Because if they realize it's a big investment, they'll do the work. And if it's not a big investment for them, then you really need to up your prices, because it should be a big investment, because it's important to them.
I'm thinking that, yeah, because again, if you're building something, if we're giving someone the framework for building something that'll pay them out, hundreds of thousands of dollars to actually use it over the next couple of years, like I think it's fairly, I think maybe it's even underpriced, like you said. Let me just ask, could you possibly share with our audience, people that watch this, how people get a hold of you, the types of people that potentially you might be a good fit to work as a coach? Like what are you up to, and who are the people that you work with?
Yeah. So for the most part, I would say it's successful women that just, they want a bump in their life. Like they want to maximize their potential. There's something that's holding them back, whether it be in their personal life, their professional lives, and they want to take their lives to the next level. And
Amazing.
I think that's actually all of my clients would fall into that description. So I guess that's
Awesome.
who I'm working with.
How do we find you?
On Instagram, on Facebook, email, WhatsApp. I'm very
What's the-
accessible. Kimber Wrosch on Facebook, or the One Kimber on Instagram, which is THE1 Kimber on Instagram.
Amazing. Kimber, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.